In the realm of ancient Greek mythology, few heroes are as celebrated as Heracles, known to the Romans as Hercules. His legendary strength, unparalleled bravery, and remarkable adventures have been immortalized in countless stories and artworks. Among his many feats, the most famous are undoubtedly the 12 Labors, a series of seemingly impossible tasks that tested every facet of his being. These labors were not just physical challenges, but trials of wit, endurance, and moral fortitude assigned to him by King Eurystheus as a form of penance and purification. Will Heracles succeed in all his labors, or will the gods and monsters of ancient Greece finally defeat him? Watch on to find out, as the legendary tale of Heracles' 12 labors unfolds before your eyes. In the ancient hills of Nemea, a beast of unparalleled ferocity roamed, a lion with a hide so tough that no weapon could pierce it. The villagers lived in constant fear, their lives shadowed by the threat of this monstrous predator. Heracles, a hero of great strength and courage, was tasked with defeating this invincible creature. He tracked the lion to its den, a dark and foreboding cave. Blocking one entrance, he ventured inside, the air thick with the scent of danger. When the lion attacked, Heracles realized that his weapons were useless. He cast them aside and, using his immense strength, wrestled the beast to the ground. With a final, mighty effort, he strangled the lion with his bare hands. Victorious, he donned the lion's impenetrable pelt as his own armor, a symbol of his triumph. But as he left the cave, he couldn't help but wonder what other trials awaited him. Little did he know his next challenge would be even deadlier, the many-headed Hydra lurking in the swamps of Lerna. The swamps of Lerna were shrouded in mist and mystery, hiding a terror that few dared to face, the Lernaean Hydra. This serpent-like creature had multiple heads, each one capable of spitting deadly venom. Worse yet, when one head was severed, 2 more would grow in its place. Heracles, undeterred by the tales of its invincibility, ventured into the swamp, his steps careful and deliberate. As he approached, the Hydra emerged, hissing and writhing, its eyes glowing with malice. Heracles fought valiantly, slicing off head after head, but they only multiplied. Realizing brute force alone would not suffice, he called upon his nephew Iolaus for assistance. Together they devised a plan. As Heracles decapitated each head, Iolaus cauterized the wounds with a flaming torch, preventing new heads from sprouting. After a brutal battle, Heracles finally overcame the Hydra, dipping his arrows in its venomous blood. As he walked away, victorious yet weary, he couldn't shake the feeling that his journey was far from over. Ahead lay the task of capturing the sacred Ceryneian Hind, a creature as elusive as it was divine. In the lush forests of Arcadia roamed the Ceryneian Hind, a majestic deer with golden antlers, sacred to the goddess Artemis. Heracles' third labor was to capture this elusive creature without harming it, a feat that seemed nearly impossible. For an entire year, Heracles tracked the hind through dense forests and across vast plains, always just out of reach. His persistence paid off one morning when he spotted the hind drinking from a crystal-clear stream. Moving with unparalleled stealth, he shot an arrow that gently immobilized the deer without causing lasting harm. As he prepared to return with his prize, he was confronted by Artemis herself, her eyes filled with anger. But Heracles, with respect and honesty, explained his plight, and she allowed him to take the hind on the condition that it would be released unharmed. With the hind in tow, Heracles set out for Mycenae, his mind already pondering the next labor, a fearsome encounter with the mighty Erymanthian Boar. High up on the snowy slopes of Mount Erymanthos lived the Erymanthian Boar, a colossal beast known for its destructive rampages. Heracles' task was to capture this boar alive and bring it back to Mycenae. Climbing the treacherous mountain, Heracles faced biting winds and freezing temperatures, but his resolve never wavered. Upon reaching the boar's lair, he found it in a frenzy, its tusks gleaming menacingly. Using his superior strength and cunning, Heracles chased the boar into a snowdrift, where it struggled to move. Seizing the opportunity, he trapped and bound the beast, then carried it down the mountain. When he presented the boar to King Eurystheus, the king was so terrified that he hid in a large jar, much to Heracles' amusement. With the boar safely delivered, Heracles knew he had little time to rest. His next task would be unlike any before, cleansing the filthy Augean Stables in a single day. The fifth labor presented a different kind of challenge. Heracles had to clean the vast Augean Stables, home to thousands of cattle, which had not been cleaned in years. The task seemed impossible, the stench overwhelming, and the sheer volume of filth daunting. But Heracles was not one to shy away from a challenge. He proposed a wager with King Augeas, promising to clean the stables in a single day in exchange for a tenth of the cattle. Using his wit, Heracles diverted the courses of the rivers Alpheus and Peneus, causing them to flood the stables and wash away the filth in one sweeping torrent. The task was completed in record time, but Augeas, refusing to honor his promise, denied Heracles his reward. Heracles, though frustrated, knew his journey was far from over. He had to face the man-eating Stymphalian Birds next, a labor that would test his ingenuity and resolve once more. Deep within the dense forests of Arcadia, a new menace awaited Heracles. The Stymphalian Birds, man-eating creatures with metallic feathers that could be shot like arrows. These terrifying birds had made their home near a swamp, and their presence cast a shadow of fear over the local populace. Heracles, undeterred by the danger, ventured into their territory. Realizing that conventional weapons would not suffice, he used a pair of bronze castanets given to him by Athena. The clattering sound echoed through the trees, startling the birds into flight. As they soared into the sky, Heracles took aim with his bow, shooting down many of the deadly creatures. With the swamp cleared, the people of Arcadia were safe once more. Heracles, however, knew that his greatest challenges were yet to come. His next labor would take him across the sea to Crete, where he would face the powerful Cretan Bull. The seventh labor took Heracles to the island of Crete, where he was tasked with capturing the Cretan Bull. This magnificent beast had been terrorizing the island, leaving destruction in its wake. Heracles approached the bull with a mix of caution and determination. The bull, sensing a challenger, charged with ferocious speed. Heracles stood his ground, grappling with the powerful animal. After a fierce struggle, he managed to subdue the bull, binding it with ropes. He then rowed the bull back across the sea to Mycenae, showcasing his incredible strength and courage. But as he handed the bull over to Eurystheus, Heracles couldn't help but think of the next challenge awaiting him, the savage, man-eating Mares of Diomedes. The eighth labor brought Heracles to the land of Thrace, where he faced the task of capturing the Mares of Diomedes, fearsome horses that fed on human flesh. Upon arriving, Heracles and his companions overpowered the guards and stole the mares. However, Diomedes and his men quickly pursued them. In the ensuing battle, Heracles overpowered Diomedes, feeding him to his own mares to calm their savage nature. The once ferocious horses, now subdued, were led back to Mycenae. With this labor complete, Heracles prepared for a journey to confront the fierce Amazons and retrieve the belt of their queen Hippolyta. For his ninth labor, Heracles set sail to the land of the Amazons to retrieve the Belt of Hippolyta, their formidable queen. Initially, Hippolyta was willing to give Heracles the belt, recognizing his noble intent. But Hera, ever the instigator, spread rumors among the Amazons that Heracles intended to kidnap their queen. A fierce battle ensued, with Heracles defending himself against the Amazon warriors. In the chaos, he secured the belt and made his way back to his ship. As he sailed away, victorious yet weary, He knew that his next labor would be even more daunting, capturing the Cattle of Geryon, a monstrous task that lay far to the west. Heracles' 10th labor took him to the distant island of Erythea, where he had to retrieve the cattle of the three-bodied giant Geryon. The journey was long and perilous, but Heracles pressed on, driven by his determination. Upon reaching the island, he first had to contend with Orthrus, the two-headed guard dog, and Eurytion, the herdsman. After defeating them, Heracles faced Geryon in an epic battle. Using his strength and cunning, he overpowered the giant and claimed the cattle. The journey back to Mycenae was fraught with challenges, but Heracles succeeded in delivering the cattle to Eurystheus. Yet, even as he celebrated this victory, he knew his next task would be the most cunning of all, obtaining the apples of the Hesperides. The 11th labor required Heracles to obtain the golden apples of the Hesperides, a task shrouded in mystery and danger. These apples were guarded by nymphs and a fierce dragon. Heracles sought the wisdom of Prometheus, who directed him to enlist the help of Atlas. Convincing Atlas to fetch the apples while he temporarily held up the sky, Heracles waited. Upon Atlas's return, the Titan tried to leave Heracles with the burden permanently, but Heracles cleverly tricked him into resuming his eternal task. With the golden apples in hand, Heracles returned to Eurystheus. However, the thought of his final labor loomed large, a challenge that would take him into the very depths of the Underworld, capturing Cerberus, the fearsome guardian of the dead. The final labor demanded Heracles to descend into the Underworld and capture Cerberus, the three-headed guard dog of Hades. With the guidance of Hermes and Athena, Heracles journeyed to the realm of the dead. After negotiating with Hades and Persephone, he confronted Cerberus. In a fierce struggle, Heracles managed to overpower the beast without using any weapons, showcasing his unparalleled strength. Dragging Cerberus to the surface, he presented the monstrous creature to Eurystheus, who was so terrified that he demanded its immediate return to the Underworld. With this final feat, Heracles completed his 12 labors, securing his place as one of the greatest heroes of all time. But even after these monumental achievements, what new adventures and challenges would await Heracles in the future? If today's journey through ancient legends and timeless tales has captivated your imagination, please consider giving us a like and subscribing to our channel. Your engagement helps us keep these incredible stories alive and share them with a wider audience. By subscribing, you become a vital part of our community, dedicated to preserving and celebrating the power of mythology. Thank you for spending this time with us. Until our next mythical adventure, keep the legends alive in your heart.